The eyes are two of the most complicated and complex organs in the body. Even so, they still can't register fast-moving objects without seeing a blur or nothing at all. In order to see events happening faster than a blink of an eye, high-speed cameras are used, which can take thousands of pictures in a mere fraction of a second. Playing this high-speed video back at a super slow speed enables us to see details that would be impossible for the human eye to register on its own. With these cameras, experts are solving mysteries, improving technology, and discovering ways to save lives and millions of dollars for industry. One such industry is NASCAR. It's one of the most popular sports in the nation, with attendance at many races topping 120,000 and often drawing crowds larger than a Super Bowl, an NBA Finals game, and a World Series game combined. The fans come to see these cars win races, and high-speed cameras are making this sport even faster. During a NASCAR race, you'll find some of the fastest action in the pit box. 7 guys with explosive power and quick hands change the tires, add fuel, and make chassis adjustments in 13 seconds or less. In this sport, just fractions of a second determine the winner of a race. For that reason, pressure to lower pit times is immense, so immense that untraditional training methods have been introduced. Matt Clark of Richard Childress Racing is leading the way. By filming his pit crews with high-speed cameras, he hopes to discover hidden potentials that will get his cars to victory lane. Matt's Director of Human Performance and Leadership Development.
Heads up, camera guy, heads up!
And his #1 goal is to help his cars win races. With big money at stake, Matt takes his job extremely seriously.
You're gonna go where I asked you to go, all right?
Most teams in NASCAR spend time practicing the pit stop in some form, in some fashion. However, there are some teams that have the resources and ability to spend more time doing that.
Richard Childress Racing is one of those teams. Their 70-plus acre headquarters in Welcome, South Carolina is a state-of-the-art facility that employs over 400 people. Building these cars is a full-time operation. Each one is built from the ground up, which takes about 2 weeks. And the price tag for one of these 800 horsepower monsters comes in around $300,000. It's an expensive sport where a winning car can make millions of dollars for its owner and sponsor. But competition is fierce, and pressure on Matt to shave seconds off his pit times is serious business.
So in our sport, unlike a lot of other sports, truly time is our greatest enemy, or it's our greatest ability to gain on our opponents. Sometimes races are won and lost by that fraction, marginal 6 inches, 8 inches. And that really relates to what happens on our pit stops. So it's important to us to make sure that we have quick pit stops.
Auto advances have made the cars faster than ever, and the same has happened with pit times.
Over the past 10 years, pit stop times have dropped dramatically, and there's a lot of reasons for that. There's been a focus on the training and the practicing of pit stops. So we've seen time drop from 18s, 17s, 16s, to the 14s, to the 13s. 12-second stops are very common. 11-second stops have been attained.
Faster air guns and lighter jacks have helped achieve these lower pit times.
But it's coming down to where it's all about the person. The equipment can only do so much, and we're limited actually by the person, the physical person itself doing the pit stop.
Pit crews need explosive power and quick reflexes to stay competitive, so Matt's training starts in the gym.
We have a whole body approach to what we do. We work on individual muscle components as well as the body as a whole. So what we do is take these guys, look at their body structure, design a program for them that will maximize strength, agility, and endurance. Because what we do most of the time is explosive and quick, and then we need the power at the bottom of that to make this thing come together.
In addition to the gym, Matt runs intense practice drills several days a week in their very own pit box right on the grounds. This is where he uses the high-speed cameras to monitor every move the pit crews make.
There's so many variables that can happen on a pit stop. Slow motion video, what it does is allows us to break down things that we haven't been able to see in the past. From gun angles, footsteps, how our foot is landing, how we're taking off. We're able to look at the very minutia of what we do in a pit stop to be able to see where we can make it better, how we can have better body movement, how we can address the areas of weakness.
The crew gears up for the first pit practice.
All right, guys, here we go. We'll give him a dry run right side approach here. Second time by, correct.
During this practice, he's focusing on the front tire changer. Slowing it down allows Matt to focus in on specific movements of the tire changer. First, he watches how he approaches and lands next to the car. His body should be parallel with it. This is a perfect landing. Next, he looks at hand movements. A good tire changer should be able to remove the tire without setting the air gun down, which he easily does. And most importantly, timing. As soon as the last lug nut is tight, he needs to leap to his feet and run full force. Any hesitation could throw off the jackman's stride, which may delay him from getting to his next position. Matt takes a look and likes what he sees.
Pep. Hey, Pep. Oh, those sets are real nice, man. Huh? Those tire sets are very nice. That's money right there.
Yeah, it's poetry in motion right there.
Better than me. All right, let's get ready to push here. All right, fellas, 07 guys, let's head to our wonderful push positions here.
With the first practice out of the way, Matt pushes the team to max out their speed.
We strive hard here at RCR to make sure that we're constantly trying to shave fractions of a second off of our pit stops.
To complicate things even more, the pit crews have to contend with cars that never stop in the same exact place. It's the pit crew's job to adjust and run the same route every time in any situation, regardless of where the car stops.
All right, here we go, gentlemen.
During this practice, he'll closely watch to see if everyone's timing is in sync.
We're gonna back it up.
Each position requires extreme focus. The slightest mistake by anyone can be detrimental to the entire team. Matt notices that during the first few runs, sync between the team is tight. The tire changers are getting from one side of the car to the other at the exact same time. He also notices the jackman eliminating a step by jumping over the tire changer instead of running around him.
It's amazing when you see in slow motion actually what the body's doing, the torques on the different joints, and those are the things that we can look at. It's helped us to be more efficient in how we approach the car, how our guys come from the right side of the car to the left side of the car.
But after several runs, Matt takes a closer look and notices something is wrong with the back tire changer. Turns out the tire changer is having a problem with the fourth lug nut. He fails to remove it and has to return for a second try. And during the next attempt, he misses it again, causing Matt to become concerned on whether or not he can handle the pressure.
All All right, you're rushing now because now you're getting panicky. But what I anticipate is you're going to be a little bit more amped up, like I'm changing tire, and you're going to burn. Just take your time, set it tight, lug nuts. All right.
Being part of a pit crew is not easy. It takes an athletic person that's willing to put in hours of training and practicing to be successful.
My greatest satisfaction is when I have Major League Baseball players, when I have NFL players say, hey, I want to come up and take part of what you're doing. It looks pretty simple. We bring them out there and let them take part in our game, in our sport. And it's most humbling for them because they realize now that it's a brand new sport and it truly takes an athletic person to do what we do.
Even though the changes Matt implements are minor and might only save fractions of a second, any advantage can make a difference, even if it's just 0.2 of a second.
Fractions of a second means so much in our sport. Cars come off a pit road or cross the start-finish line by mere inches. And at 200 miles an hour, fractions of a second in the pits, lost on pit road or gained on pit road, can and do make the difference on the outcome of a race. Anytime that we can go ahead and isolate an individual and look at them individually in video, it allows us just to take the time to slow things down. And when you take it out of real time, it just allows the eyes to see things that they haven't seen before. And video has been such a great tool for us here in NASCAR in pit crew development that I don't see us without it getting to where we are now.
By analyzing minute body movements and making adjustments to the way they run, land, reach, and think, Matt has pushed his teams to new levels, and he continues to look for ways to lower pit times.
I really see the pit stop coming down to a lower number. I can't tell you what that number is. There is a bottom number, and I'm hoping my teams actually create that bottom and that lowest number in the efforts that we're doing here.
It's no secret that Americans love beer, and helping to quench that thirst is Miller Brewery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They forecast that in 2009, the entire company will brew 70 million barrels of beer. That's equivalent to 23 billion 12-ounce cans. In order to satisfy this enormous demand, it's a 24-hour, 7 days a week operation where cans and bottles pass through production at a dizzying pace. And many areas move so fast that it's virtually impossible to notice defects or troubleshoot without shutting down the entire line. And when production stops, the ripple effect could run through the plant, becoming very costly to the company. Greg Harris is a maintenance manager who oversees production.
So when we do have a problem on a line and we have to shut it down, then what we're doing is we're affecting our customer service, and that will cause a couple of different things. It'll cause us to have to divert orders, change orders. Sometimes it can back us up into the brewing area.
Greg's job is to make sure this doesn't happen, but it's not easy with things moving so fast.
Our packaging lines, just a typical bottle line, will run anywhere from 825 bottles a minute up to 1,400 bottles a minute.
The can lines are even faster, running anywhere from 1,700 to 2,000 cans per minute.
So it's virtually impossible to see a defect or a problem with the naked eye.
Every twist and turn throughout the maze of machinery is a potential hazard to every can and bottle. To keep an eye on these hazards, they've put together an equipment specialist team led by Willie Vega.
Willie is the subject matter experts in the use of the high-speed camera technology that we employ here, and has used it to great success to troubleshoot and solve problems here.
He sets up his high-speed camera at some of the fastest areas on the production line.
We're looking for beer spillage, product loss, damaged goods from the supplier, and also from machinery incurred damage.
Take a look at this area of the production. The cans passing through are a blur. Now viewed at 5,000 frames per second, you can see every detail. This gives you an idea of how fast the production line is moving. Today, Willie's setting up his camera to monitor a known problem area. It's called the seamer, and it's where the lids are put on the cans.
What we have is the empty open-ended can. We put it through our filling machine. It's filled with beer. Throw it through our closer. The closer adds the lid to the can. That essentially puts it on top of the can at high speed and then rolls each edge out to flatten and irons that out so that way we retain the product without, and it's happening at 1,700 cans a minute.
It's at this location where he looks for dents and spillage, which is impossible to spot at this speed. Slowing it down allows him to get a better view. The cans at the top of the screen have just been filled with beer and enter without lids. As they pass through the seamer, they come out as sealed cans.
Because it's a high-speed process, everything is precise, a very precision fit. What happens is when you start seeing little dents in your cans like this, we no longer are able to put a good seam on there. Beer will leak out of that seam from the can.
Because the dents start out so small, they're very hard to detect.
And once you put beer and pressurize it, it actually amplifies that dent.
At this point, the can is rejected on the production line. Then, Willie goes to work and tries to locate the cause.
So what we try to do is, using our video technology, is to backtrack everywhere we can and watch the footage of cans over a longer period of time to see where they're coming from.
Cans with dents or creasing are a big problem.
Cans are a very fragile item, and any type of misalignment on our rails will cause any kind of creasing.
He keeps a close eye on several key areas and sometimes lets the camera roll 24 hours before locating the problem. Here's a dent he spotted and was able to trace back to the cause.
By using the camera, we were able to identify the location and the root cause being a guide where the cans were actually hitting this guide and causing a dent or crease in the can.
But even with the high-speed cameras, it still takes a trained eye to spot many of the problems. Willie can watch hours of video before seeing the precise moment when something goes wrong. On this line, there was a complaint of multiple falling cans in lane 3, but because of the high speeds, no one could locate the source of the problem. But after filming the line with the high-speed camera, Willie noticed the can in lane 3 would hang up on the rails, causing the can to fall. And the can line isn't the only place where trouble can happen. The bottle line has similar problems.
On the bottle filler, our most important job is to get that bottle on the filler in a straight manner. You do not want it one side or the other, otherwise you'll start chipping the top of that bottle. As we come down on these conveyors, you can see that these bottles are almost ready to break. However, the transportation between here and this pasteurizer is very crucial also. We have a lot of bottle breakage on the floor, as you can tell, and sometimes we have to look for these rails to be adjusted correctly so that bottle doesn't lay down.
They're passing through here at speeds as fast as 1,400 bottles a minute. If chipping isn't detected early, hundreds of bottles could be lost or breakage could occur. Slow motion allows Willie to see the bottles in all the critical places like the bottle cap. This is an area where chipping can occur. The bottles come in on one side, the cap is pressed on, then out the other side. Everything is aligned perfectly today, but in the past, this is where bottles have shattered.
A lot of times you'll get into problems that are intermittent, and you're not able to stand there and see it actually happen. So to be able to record it over a period of time, let's say 24 hours, and then come back and watch that film, slow it down, identify where something is actually happening, allows us to actually improve the speed in which we can troubleshoot.
Once the bottles make it to the end of the line, they get boxed up. This is another area where Willie used the high-speed camera to solve problems. Operators were complaining of damaged flaps on the boxes, but could not track where the damage was occurring. Willie set up his cameras, hoping to solve this mystery. It turns out the rear flaps were not being cut properly, which caused them to get caught up on the railing. Once the beer makes it through the packaging, it ends up here.
This is our shipping warehouse. This is where we stage all of our beer prior to loading up in trucks or rail cars.
It's over 2 acres of beer, and it's more than just the Miller brand.
We have about 50 different brands that extrapolate out to around 486 different SKUs, so there'll be different package types and package styles.
This massive warehouse has a high turnover.
And basically, we turn this room over in about 36 hours. All the stock you see on the floor right now will be out of here within 36 hours, and new product will be in its place.
Every day, 250 semi-trucks are loaded with beer and shipped out to as many as 10 different states, keeping beer drinkers happy across America.